But I want you to know, Los Angeles, you ain't seen nothing yet. We are going to deal with these issues. We are going to bring about a better America. And you and me, we're going to do it together, arm in arm. We're going to march forward. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
Not to be picky, it's you and I are going to do it together, not you and me. Good evening, my friends. Good afternoon, my friends. This is Mark Levin. Our number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. That was Obama in L.A., more particularly in Hollywood, at a multi-million-dollar fundraiser for the Democrat National Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say something that will drive some of the cyber geeks nuts. And, of course, the leftists. But I feel it and I believe it. I think this is as close to a dictatorship as we've ever had in this country. I honestly do. Oh, I know all the arguments. Obama was elected, the Democrats were elected. I get all that. But the systemic effort to deny us our liberty and, in essence, our franchise by constitutionalizing their agenda, by institutionalizing their agenda in the bureaucracy, is anti-democratic and anti-constitutional as anything I've ever seen or frankly read about in this country. Much worse than FDR and LBJ. This is the closest thing that I can think of. We have a government that accepts no limitations on its power. And when I say we have a government, I mean the people who currently run our government in Washington. They accept no limits on their power. They have no self-restraint. They do not accept the limited role of the central government in our constitutional scheme. This is the closest thing to a dictatorship that we have ever had in this country, I believe. And they're having a grand old time punishing people, hurting people, spreading misery, benefiting their friends, spending future generations' resources. The rogue behavior of these people is so contemptible, and we hear cheerleading from the New York Slimes and the Washington Compost. We hear cheerleading from ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN. It is stunning. All the talk about an imperial presidency. This is the most imperial presidency I think we've ever had. I honestly do. Now, James Capretta, National Review, online, The Corner. Let's put this in some perspective for you. He writes, last week, Standard & Poor's warned the British government that it could lose its AAA rating for sovereign debt if large budget deficits persist in coming years, as currently projected. The S&P noted that the UK net government debt burden is expected to reach 100% of the country's annual economic output soon and stay there indefinitely. Yesterday, John Taylor of Stanford and the Hoover Institution noted in a piece in the Financial Times, there's every reason to expect the United States will soon find itself in the same boat as Britain. Difference is, folks, that we will have gotten here in a matter of months, where it took them a matter of decades. This is what I'm talking about. This is the closest thing to a dictatorship I think we've ever experienced. At the end of 2008, our national debt burden stood at 41% of gross domestic product. That's all economic activity. The Congressional Budget Office, CBO, expects the Obama budget plan to push it above 82% at the end of 2019. And that's before the retirement of the baby boom generation hits with full force. And between 2020 and 2030, the number of Americans aged 65 and older will increase by almost 54 million to almost 69 million, a jump of 16 million over a decade. Meanwhile, the Obama administration is working feverishly with congressional allies to enact the mother of all entitlements, the largest new entitlement since 1965 for socialist health care, with only the vaguest notion of how the country will pay for it in the decades to come. Despite much talk of bending the cost curve, there's nothing under consideration now that should give anyone confidence that this new entitlement will grow any less rapidly than the ones already on the books. John Taylor argues persuasively that this irresponsible U.S. fiscal position is creating a systemic economic risk of mammoth proportions. At some point, these large and persistent budget deficits will push our debt burden so high that current lenders will become saturated with Treasury securities. The consequence will be either monetization of the debt, that is, we buying our own debt, that's debt on top of debt, and hyperinflation as a result, or crushing high interest rates. Either way, the economic consequences would be devastating and make our current recession look like a picnic. Has your heart stopped at all? Have you stopped what you're doing and thought about this? This is just unbelievable. This war against future generations, this attack on our currency and our financial systems, the complete rejection of the limits in the Constitution. The hell's going on here? This is no joke. This is very, very serious. I don't know how you love your country, love your children, love your grandchildren, and pretend this isn't going on, or worse yet, support it. I don't know how you do. And the thuggishness and the intimidation tactics that go on from this White House without reporting of any serious kind from our media is unbelievable to me. So completely and utterly in the tank they are for this administration. Now, if I know the numbers, and you know the numbers, and the Congressional Budget Office knows the numbers, and Stanford knows the numbers, and the S&P knows the numbers, and Moody knows the numbers, surely the media in this country know the numbers. Is there a 1-hour special on what they're doing to our economic system in this country? Can we expect that on any of the broadcast networks? No. Can we expect it on any of the Sunday fold-out sections of the major newspapers in this country? No. They editorialize in support of all of this. We are destroying this nation from within, from the bottom up. And it's not only, they're not even not slowing down and looking back at what they're doing, they're plowing ahead. I promise you, unfortunately, these first 4 months of this presidency, the first year of this presidency, will do more damage to this country than any foreign enemy has ever done, because it is striking at our institutions from within. And we have no way to defend ourselves. We have no way to stop it. It took them 80 years to get to this point, and one election where a guy wins with 52.7% of the vote, you would have thought he got 92.7% of the vote. Now look at this thug behavior, which doesn't get seriously reported. A couple of wire stories, but it's not a scandal. Look at this thug behavior. GM, Reuters. The latest bond exchange offer from General Motors Corp, quote, sends a chilling message to all individual bond owners. GM Bondholders Unite, a grassroots organization representing individual GM creditors, said on Thursday.